How would you say Florida has changed since I guess you arrived when you were born? So over the years, how has it changed, would you say? Culturally and otherwise?
Culturally, I've noticed three things growing up. When I was a kid, there's been three big, I call them migrations to the village. The first one was, I think, when my father first bought a house and built it. All the kids I grew up with, they all came here from outside the area. We had a lot of local kids, generationals that were blackbird farmers or, local merchants and whatnot, but a lot of people moved up here. Right around 9/11, when the terrorists hit, there was another huge migration of people from the city up here just to get away from all that. And then I see now, after COVID, again, a lot of people moved up here to get away from either the politics down in the city or just the congestion there. They want to come up here to get more of a country life. And with that, you see more developments, more building, and just more need and use for the municipality to, service garbage, water, sewer, just in the village. And you can see on 94, the overall increase has been catastrophic on Route 94. That should have been done 2 times over in the last 20 years, but now they're finally just starting it.
How did that increase in city population change Florida? What was your observation about that?
I would just say the overall size of it. I think overall, most people just want to come up here. To me, the village, I've noticed is it's a bedroom community. Mm-hmm. Monday through Friday, everybody's up and working, going to work, and they're here on the weekends. I think that's the biggest change. That wasn't the case years ago. Mm-hmm. I just think with the change in the work and lengths to go to work, that's what it's evolved into. I mean, even the Florida Fire Department, they had issues recruiting volunteers because you used to be able to work in town, and that luxury is no longer there. It's very hard to work that close to home anymore, just with the costs in New York in general. So I think that's probably one of the biggest changes I've seen.
And so how did that new city population change the mix in terms of values or any other kinds?
What do you mean, like value? Like values, property, cultural values, or?
Cultural values, personal values, that sort of thing.
I don't know if there's been much of a cultural shift. I think we've always had a decent mix. We've had, it's more of a red community from what I've gathered, from what I've seen. And there's democratic aspects of it too. I think the biggest thing is most people in this village, they just want to enjoy the area itself. I mean, you start talking the school stuff or any of the national aspects, that really doesn't impact us on the village level. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think people are mad on both sides over a lot of the failures of New York to do what they need to do just as, taxpayers. Mm-hmm. I've been stating it for the last 4 years. I don't care if you're independent, Democrat, Republican, there's a lot of common ground that we can, argue that needs to happen for all of our mutual benefits, and leave the, that socio-politicals out of the arena, we'll say.
So what are you looking for New York to do, for the state to do?
Route 94 was the big one. Route 94 was the most critical one. We get one of our biggest complaints, and I think one of the biggest confusions is a lot of people think that we're in charge of the village's portion of New York State Route 94, when that's not the case. We have no ability to do anything to it. We can't repair it, we can't patch it, we can't do any infrastructure upgrades to the road itself. Years ago it was attempted, and we got a nasty email to say don't do it. So I think now that they're finally going to cover their end, we're trying to do as much promotional information to just let everybody know what's coming, what's going to happen, and get that done. Just so everyone's aware of it, because traffic will be a big issue coming up in the next 2 years.
Then what are you aiming for running for mayor again? Do you have a particular particular goals?
I do. I want to, right now, we're doing, we just completed the master plan last year, our comprehensive master plan. That is going to give us the blueprint of where we see ourselves in the next 10, 15 years. I do see that the community likes to walk. They like to walk everywhere. So if we can increase our sidewalks, I think that's a paramount thing to do. We did start that on Maple Avenue with a SAM grant. I would like to continue that. The problem's going to be for that particular street with the construction on 94, it's going to be a double back-to-back traffic jam. So I think we're going to have to hold off on finishing Maple Avenue until New York State finishes theirs. But there's a lot of other streets in the village to hit and work on. So we're applying right now for more sidewalk grants, and as we get them, I would like to just institute more for the sidewalk walking community. We did do land preservation. We purchased an additional 100 acres up by the Glenmere watershed from development. It butts right up to our other portion of the park, so it's close to 300 acres. I'd like to expand hiking trails there. I'd like to expand a little bit more access on the other side so people can come in from both ways. I'd like to do a little bit more with the lake itself. That's been an ongoing issue even prior to my tenure.
Where did the money come for the land expansion?
For land expansion, we got it through a New York State grant. I think it was a WQIP grant. That was a very important purchase. And we also got a portion of it from the town of Warwick under Mike Sweeten. And we kind of split the costs just so we could acquire the property before it got developed. And since it is our watershed for our drinking water, it was a no-brainer, because right now we do have an issue with runoff on portions of the lake that we don't control. We need to tie that all into a sewer system that doesn't leach into the lake anymore. That would stop a lot of the weed growth.
And what were the specific directions of the new comprehensive plan? Any new directions from that?
Sidewalks was one, land preservation, or trying to, whatever does get developed is still open, try to do it more of a cluster setup so we save some open space, parkland area. Roads, road infrastructure upgrades, that's another, that's always an ongoing issue. We do have great roads in the village. All of ours are well maintained and kept, but that's an ongoing issue. So we always have to do CHIPS funding, and when we do work on them, just plan ahead to put sidewalks with them. So
anything to do with housing, increasing affordable housing or anything like that?
We have some projects that are in discussions right now. Nothing set in stone. The biggest thing is a lot of our larger parcels right now, they haven't been built for a reason. And it's trying to work with the property owner to do a mutually beneficial vision for what the board sees it ultimately becoming. So yes, we could do some more affordable housing. We do have apartments going in down the road, going towards Warwick on the right. There is, again, like I said, a potential other project, which is in its infancy right now. But we also did, with the master plan, with our commercial districts, we allowed for buildings to have 2 levels above apartments. So at least it's a double-edged benefit, I think. You can have a commercial base, tax base, but you can also have your lower income residential apartments up top. Which
How much of that did you get from that?
What do you mean?
How much additional housing did you get from that change? Really?
I'd say 20 to 35 units currently. Mm-hmm. It depends on the building investors. Some of the buildings are renovated and added onto. It's a building by building basis, depending on where it works in the dimensions of the zone.
Okay. Any other visions that you have for your next term in terms of things that you want to add or change?
I think the biggest ones are going to be more infrastructure this go around. 2 years the world got shut down, which slowed down some of the stuff that we wanted to do. We're back on track, but I would definitely like to do more water main and sewer main just to keep the ongoing upgrades in motion, because the longer you kick things down the road, we're going to have it's going to be a major issue in the future, which I wouldn't want somebody to inherit.
And what do people talk about what they want at meetings? Village meetings.
I think a lot of it depends on each person, depending on the context. Speeding in the village is an issue. It comes down to, enforcement, and I mean, you can't catch them all. You try to get them at the certain times. There's a couple conflicts right now with residents and some of our industrial areas that we're trying to work out, noise issues, which we're trying to just square away so that both parties can do what they need to do, either on the industrial aspect or peace of mind for the homeowner. Trying to think, well, we actually are going to do a public hearing on the 7th for allowing chickens in the village.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's been discussed, probably since COVID. I never really thought it would have gained as much traction as it has. So we're going to see where that leads. I'd like to hear the public's comment on that. It is a major change. It's something that's never been done in the village. And, this is something where we're going to need the public input on. We're going to definitely need the public input on that.
What's your perspective on chickens in the village?
I lived on the outskirts of the village when I grew up, so I always had them.
Uh-huh.
We had turkeys, chickens, guinea hens, ducks, anything with feathers, we pretty much had it. I do see the positives, I do see the negatives, and it ultimately is going to come down to what the public majority wants, I think, and what the board decides to do. I'm only one person on a 5-person board.
Yeah.
So what they ultimately decide to do is how we'll proceed forward. I think it's got some good merits in certain areas. I think within the village there's certain zones and certain locations where it can work. I don't think certain areas it's feasible. And it's also going to come down to the individual. It should be neighborly foresight. If I'm going to do this, think of your neighbors, because not everybody likes the idea. That has been stated.
What are their biggest concerns? The roosters crowing?
I already set the guidelines with that. No roosters.
Oh.
No roosters. That's off the table. Somebody did ask, well, what happens if you get one? I would say that it comes down to, listen, if you want to do the farm to table lifestyle, roosters do make good soup chickens. So that's part of that aspect too. Chickens are more than just egg producers.
Yeah.
So that's something to take into consideration, because it could happen. So if you don't want to have that dilemma in your future, maybe, chicken ownership isn't for you. But yeah, I'm very curious and excited to see what people think about it. And then we'll go from there. It's not going to be an overnight thing. This is going to be something we're going to have to craft and think through thoroughly. We have some local laws that we've been dabbling with, that we've cherry-picked from other municipalities that have the codes in there already, and we'll build off of that. We'll do a couple introductory local laws, see what the public thinks, and go from there. But it's, I don't want to say it's a feel-good policy or a feel-good project, but it's something different. It's a little bit more entertaining than, we're going to work on asphalt today or fix a curb. But
So is there a lot of conflict around that?
what?
Is there a lot of conflict around the chicken possibility?
Online in the survey, we did a very, very basic survey, basically a yay or a nay. Most of the people seem to be for it. It's going to come down to the interesting aspect of what the survey said. If it was approved, would you get them? A large portion said we like the idea, but we wouldn't get them. So that was interesting. I was like, okay, so we'll work with that and see where it leads. A few people had concerns, and they're valid concerns, and they'll be taken into consideration, and we'll decide how to proceed.
Why would people say, yes, they want to have them allowed, but not want them themselves? They want to support their neighbors in having chickens.
They probably want the neighbors to do all the hard work and they get the free eggs. That would be my guess. That happens to my father right now. His chickens produce a lot of eggs and there's a lot of people that take his eggs. So that would be the model I'm basing it off of.
Any other visions for the future of Florida that you have in mind?
JFK Park off of Bridge Street, I think can be, there's potential there to revamp it. I'd like to work on that in the future. I can work with our Parks and Rec trustee, Mr. Craig Olenichek, on that. Because he has.
Revamp it in what way?
It's an older structure. It's an older facility. The bathrooms could use upgrades. The park equipment, the playground equipment can use upgrades. The building itself could use some upgrades or redesign. Parking's always been a major issue down there. It's tight. So maybe there's a way to engineer or acquire some sort of property to make the parking more efficient and accessible for larger gatherings. Because there's a ball field down there. People go watch the modified softball and stuff like that. And it gets a little chaotic. The rec program's down there, so drop-off can be a little chaotic too. So I'd like to evaluate and see if we can improve that. We have a piece of property that we use the soccer fields over off of Lemke Drive. That's got potential for upgrades, some lighting that's been suggested for evening activity and stuff. The senior center, we're doing a parking lot expansion right now, but that will probably be phase one. I think they can utilize and have more access or use for their facility, maybe make it bigger, maybe give them another story. I've been working with the seniors a little bit on that, just kind of getting their feedback. Deputy Mayor Fuller, he's our senior liaison, so we do a little think tank and he'll go get some information, feedback from them. Parking was a big thing, so we're doing that for the seniors now. And it helps alleviate with the library as well. What else would I like to get done? There's some properties that are like swampland right now. They're not really buildable. So we're kind of evaluating maybe doing something with those as parkland. Maybe making trails. So they're right in the village, and that could be utilized for, just right down the road for people to go walk. So those are some of the basic things. Always like to, with the employees here in the village, we have the police force, we have the DPW, we like to give them equipment that can do the job it needs to do. So I try to keep everything on a pretty decent cycle of renewal. So once the vehicles start to wear down, try to sell them so we can recoup some money and purchase new equipment so we don't have the breakdown on maintenance. That cost has gone up, so we're trying to be very fiscally responsible with that. I would like to continue doing grant applications for, funding from the state or the feds to accomplish a lot of these tasks, because none of these things are free. So a lot of them are mutual, you spend 50%, you get 50%. And as we apply and we get them, we'll make these things happen. Like the senior parking lot is a SAM grant that we just got 2 years ago, which is coming to fruition. And
Are the federal changes at the top there having any effect on your financing?
Not yet. We're pretty conservative with how we spend our money. We like to make sure that we keep it on the 2% tax cap. That's always a goal we strive for, and we haven't exceeded it. But as of right now, it hasn't. We have a small FEMA grant we got from. I don't think it was a hurricane. It was a tropical storm, and we got it for some sewer damage. So unless that gets revoked, I think that would be the only thing that can impact us on the federal level right now.